Hello and welcome to the first series stand Metagame Monday, where I take a look at popular team archetype and explain how and why its sets work, its metagame matchups, and how to counteract it. So today we're going to be looking at pretty simple team, like I did in Series 8. First off, we're going to start with Tornadus Kyogre. So how do you play this thing? It's pretty simple. You lead Tornadus and either Kyogre, Xerneas, Regieleki, or Xerneas, and then you're gonna have Kyogre, Xerneas, Regieleki, or Xerneas, one of these two in the back. Incineroar is usually there to stop Calyrex Shadow Rider and be annoying against Trick Room with its burning shots being very slow. So let's get into each and one of these sets. So basically this team doesn't have the best Xerneas matchup, so we are investing in the safety goggles and taunt on Tornadus, so we counteract the Xerneas plus Amogus combo a little bit better. We also have Hurricane, which is 100% accurate thanks to the rain, Talent to enable this whole team to work, and Ice Summon to potentially slow down stuff like Xerneas and potentially slow down a few more stuff, a little bit more into the Kyogre range, because if we are going to go up against a mirror matchup, Ice Summoning might be really useful in Talent Mirror. Other than that, the EV spread is pretty simple. Tron 52 is the best. You might argue that I believe you already take Regieleki's Electro up with this EV spread, so and you can't really EV for much more, so. And yeah, just having max special attack is super nice against the grass types with Assault Vest that are running around the metagame. Especially Rillaboom, Serena, and even Amogus, that is just quite bulky. Even without a Cobble Berry. Or Assault Vest. Kyogre, I can argue that you can run Choice Scarf set. I would maybe even sometimes recommend it. It's not as flexible as this Sea Incense set, but it's really nice to go up against Calyrex Shadow Rider for once and actually have a positive matchup. Because of Calyrex Shadow Rider, if you want to run Sea Incense, Wave Incense, or Mystic Water, you need to run Hydro Pump, because Scald from Sea Incense does not KO Calyrex Shadow Rider, even with Life Orb Recoil, usually at least. And you really need to knock him out, because if you don't knock him out, it's gonna reverse VP in late game, like in this game, so. Actually, is the music down? Yeah, okay. So look at this late game. Look at this Calyrex Shadow Rider just walking right in there. Walk right in there. And I cannot do anything to stop it anymore. I got not even the hard liners in the back. I tried to stop this Trail Barrage for a while, but it just knocks out the liners. Gets a special attack boost. And I Scald it here, it doesn't KO. And it's just gonna reverse sweep right now, and I just forfeit. So this is usually what happens in late game if you got Sea Incense. So you absolutely need to run Hydro Pump just because of this late game scenario. I would also argue that running Thunder instead of Ice Beam is super nice as well, because a lot of water types are just kind of like counting on bowling the Kyogre out in late game, and Thunder can just change that because Ice Beam is just so good against the grass types, right? Also, do not run Water Spout without Hydro Pump or Scald, because in that case you're just gonna get kind of bowled out in the other way in late game, since you do not have a stab water type move, and that's like what makes Kyogre. Yeah, Kyogre kind of got 4-slot move slot syndrome, so yeah, you need to run Protect as well if you're running Sea Incense, so it's just kind of annoying to run Kyogre in current metagame, or any metagame that is. Oh yeah, by the way, Hydro Pump is better than Origin Pulse because of the sheer amount of White Guard running around in the format right now, especially from me and Shao. I talked about Serena already in previous video, but someone mentioned that it actually gets payback. So you can actually annoy the Calyrex Shadow Rider a lot with that. So if you're at the end of your rope, you can swap out Triple Axle or maybe High Jump Kick for payback to just simply annoy the Calyrex Shadow Rider. Triple XL is just way too important in the Eternatus matchup. U-turn is also very important to gain momentum. Stab is stab. And High Jump Kick is just kind of only for Incineroar, which we cover already just pretty well with Kyogre and Xerneas. And Regieleki hits it like a truck as well. So it's kind of like okay to remove High Jump Kick and just get payback, in my opinion. I also am lobbying for max speed spread here. Since we already have a Talent, we just might want to outspeed as many things as possible, and outspeeding as many Rillabooms as possible is also pretty useful. Although I remember I actually had more optimal sets on the land grad here, so maybe I'm gonna copy that. More on that in the Serena video, that is. Oh yeah, this one. I believe this one, oh yeah, you KO the Assault West Rillaboom with triple axle plus a... I mean, what kind of team am I looking at right now? Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the top one. Excuse me for 1 second. So you KO Rillaboom with triple axle plus Water Spout here. With the combination of these two attacks, so it's pretty good. You want to achieve that attacking breakpoint. And rest of this put into the bulk, you still outspeed as many Rillabooms as possible. Yeah, this spread is just much better. Also, Regieleki is there for speed control, additional speed control against other Tailwind teams. It's pretty useful, and it hits like a truck on our Tailwind. And on the rain with Thunders, so it's ridiculous. The power is just simply ridiculous. It volt switches to gain momentum. It's just good to have against other Tailwind teams. That's basically what Regieleki does. It's fast and it beats other Tailwind teams. Landorus is there for one reason, and that's additional offensive pressure against Eternatus. It's really necessary. I've seen some people running Amogus instead of Landorus in this slot, and I just don't know how do they deal with Eternatus at all. They just can't win against it. If it Cosmic powers and you got like Ice Beam, it's just not gonna do enough. The Recover could even PP stall you with Ice Beam. Could even recover, yeah, because Eternatus got pressure, so... which wastes 2 of your PP instead of 1, so it's gonna PP stall your Ice Beam and then you're completely toast. If they got 2 Cosmic powers, I don't believe Triple Axle and Ice Beam even saves you at that moment. And they got like, Sludge Bomb also just does so much damage to Serena, to the point it's ridiculous. You can't really use Serena as your Eternatus counteraction because it just gets hit way too hard with Sludge Bomb. This is where Landorus comes into the play. It's additional protection against the Xerneas as well, because its Sludge Bomb really hits that hard. Substitute is great for momentum gaining in a lot of spots. You might find yourself against Pokemon that are just going to double protect against your last Tailwind turn, and Substitute punishes that beautifully. Sludge Bomb really hits the Xerneas and other grass types hard, which would otherwise resist the Earth power. And other than that, you're just running max speed, max special attack, just to gain as much speed and power as possible. Now, Incineroar, as I've mentioned, is there quite literally to stop Calyrex or put some fear into it, and to beat Trick Room, to just have more momentum as well with Fake Out. But mainly it's just to annoy Trick Room as much as possible with its parting shots and Fake Outs. It's running max defense spread, so we take Surging Strikes better from opponents with Shifu. But you can totally run some more special defensive set like this, with which you just take plus 2 Moon Blast from Xerneas, which is super useful as well in a lot of scenarios, since you are able to get like Parting Shot off against Xerneas, and that's super cool. Oh yeah, so Landorus usually can be Among Us to gain again even more ground against the Trick Room teams. And to also protect Kyogre and create a completely new combination of Kyogre plus Among Us combo. That is super scary if they got usually only single target attacks, since they can really get the Kyogre in time and it's just going to get its massive Water Spout off, and that's just going to be way too annoying for a lot of teams. So yeah, that's the main mode of this team. I think I explained everything, so let's get into the matchup section of this part of the video. Alright, so first matchup I'm gonna show you is a Zacian matchup. So let's see how do we approach it. So yeah, basically most of the time when you're gonna go up against almost any team, you're gonna go up against Regieleki plus Rillaboom lead, or Regieleki lead, or Rillaboom lead, plus something. So prepare to be kind of annoyed by that. Alright, so Wood Hammer, just in case I switch, for example, that's Serena. Here we can just simply go with Rillaboom if we want to. And we're just gonna do that because it's really annoying for the Kyogre. And it's really the only thing that's kind of preventing Kyogre from sweeping. Now you see, we just spin down the opponent because Serena plus Kyogre have almost flawless coverage right now. They can double protect, but it doesn't really matter because they got no switching, no real switching. Water Spout also with Sea Incense boosted is just simply gonna knock out Zacian. Urshifu can't switch out anywhere, Power Whip is just gonna finish it off. And Regieleki alone cannot win against Assault West Serena plus Kyogre in the back. So yeah, you see Thunderbolt doesn't do even that much damage. and we just knock out a Regieleki, which is a win. So this is how you usually gonna approach the Zacian matchup. If they can lead with Gothitelle, this is why we basically lead with Xerneas. Basically, so we can just annoy something like Regieleki if they lead alongside Gothitelle. Yeah, that's that. So Eternatus, alright, so let's watch this. So basically again, Rillaboom lead, Eternatus lead is super safe against this team, or is it? So yeah, we're just gonna lead with Eternatus Arena, Tailman up, so we outspeed the Eternatus before it goes for a Sludge Bomb or a Cosmic Power. We do massive damage to it. Sludge Bomb doesn't even knock us out, and Wood Hammer does massive damage to Tornadus. Alright, Grassy Throw recovery, Black Sludge recovery. Let's watch that. Hurricane should even KO even a Saltwater Rillaboom here. Triple Axle actually finishes off Eternatus. Nice. And again, we pin the opponent down with the Kyogre Water Spout in late game. I'm actually gonna go for Hyper Fast here since it's just like kind of a cleanup. Close Combat. Just slow that down. Ice Wind. Earth Power. And switch to this. Aqua doesn't knock me out. Water Spout finishes both of them off. Yeah. So this is usually what you want to do against Eternatus, to lead with Serena and Tornadus. Alright, Calyrex Shadow Rider is really annoying matchup, so let's watch that. Regieleki is just annoying lead overall. They can match even our Tailwind right now, so that's even more annoying. So yeah, we're gonna fake out Regieleki since it's the bigger threat here. We're just gonna taunt the opponent's Tornadus so it cannot protect or do something dumb. Flare Blitz should finish off Regieleki here, which should allow Kyogre to come in kind of safely, or whatever we have in the back to come in safely. We cannot really come in with Serena yet because they got Tornadus on the field. Yeah, so we're gonna come in with Regieleki, which just gets faken out. Hurricane doesn't knock out Incineroar, which is super good. We bring it out me and Shaw to Focus Sash, or at least close to Focus Sash. Thunder kills me and Shaw. But an Icy Winds here, so we are actually going to be slower than Calyrex again, and there is nothing you can do to prevent that. And Calyrex switches in. Oh boy. So you need, for example, I had a Scald here and I got a really good roll. So don't get fooled by that. I just got a good roll here, but if I didn't get a good roll, this was a loss. Because Calyrex just finishes both of them off, so... Yeah, I think you need to have Hyper Pump for this matchup, just for this late game scenario, and this late game scenario comes up very often, so get your Hyper Pumps. Alright, mirror matchup. This is always funny, especially in Tailwind mirrors. There is not much defensive counterplay to anything, and yeah, so I'm gonna go for just Hyper Fast here. Just Electro Web, critical hit, that's probably a win. Electro Web, yeah, Earth Power finishes that off. Actually, by the way, excuse me, I was about to say that going for Thunder plus Substitute here is super safe here. But if opponent has Choice Scarf Kyogre for some reason, this is just going to just get Water Spouted, and this is a loss, unfortunately. So yeah, if you want to win the mirror though, you might want to run Choice Scarf Kyogre. You give up some flexibility, but you have such a good matchup against opponent's Kyogre and Calyrex Shadow Rider as well, that it might be worth it. Now that I think about it, maybe running Choice Scarf Kyogre is actually optimal on this team, just for these mirror matchups and the Calyrex Shadow Rider matchup. Last but not least, Xerneas matchup. Yeah, let's just watch this one. Xerneas plus Rillaboom is super safe, but if we lead Serena, we're gonna prevent not only the Fake Out, but also the Resurrection. We're just gonna go for Taunt here, we're gonna pretend like we predicted that incorrectly, and opponent just goes for Moonblast here. Triple Axle does massive damage to opponent's Rillaboom, which is super good. U-turn does massive damage to Serena though. And opponent's Urshifu switches in. Urshifu protects, so I think we predicted incorrectly yet again. Oh yeah, we just missed the Xerneas, doesn't matter. We're just gonna switch into our Kyogre, and we're gonna start sweeping right now. Usually you just want to get to this spot with Serena plus Kyogre, and there is nothing opponent can do to prevent the sweep from that moment on. Especially with Power Up just covering for the grass types, water types. And Triple Axle covering for the grass types. And yeah, we just won here. So, Yeah, you usually want to just get into the Xerneas Kyogre position kind of freely and then reverse sweep, and there is not much opponent can do. So this is how you play this team. So how do you counteract this very annoying archetype? You usually want to just go with this one thing, named Fragiliki. With Focus Sash, it survives one Water Spout. If you want to go for, if you got Focus Sash, you can Electro Web freely against Tornadus Kyogre lead. And you can kind of Electro Web them. And after a single Electro Web, you already outspeed Tornadus and Kyogre it again. You Electro Web again. You slow down the Kyogre to 156 speed, which can be picked off by some ally, which is above 156 speed, and you're just gonna knock out Kyogre, and that's it, that's the win. Usually Regieleki is very annoying for this archetype if you run a Focus Sash, but you can run Choice Scarf as well to outspeed Kyogre under Tailwind, and Tornadus under Tailwind as well, so that's another option. Thunderbolt is enough to just knock out Kyogre as well, which is super cool. And yeah, you just want to spam Electro up and just be annoying. If you got your own Tailwind, this is just usually going to be enough. Regieleki plus Tailwind Tornadus or Tailwind Talonflame plus Restricted is usually going to be enough to allow you to beat the opponent's Tailwind Kyogre. Amogus is also pretty annoying counteraction for this, since opponent kind of has to choose to not set up Tailwind, and you can just kind of Spore or take advantage of that. But for example, Regieleki, you can just knock out a Tornadus, for example. If they taunt your Amogus, you can go for Sludge Bomb plus Electro Web and just simply break the Focus Sash and KO Tornadus before Tailwind is being set up. It's super cool to have Amogus on your team to annoy your opponent out. And yeah, of course, you want to have usually more special defensive spread, since this is a good special defensive spread. Yeah. This is usually a good, very special defensive spread because it allows you to just take Hurricanes a little bit better. Relative is not a good counteraction for this, I gotta warn you, because the Xerneas plus Kyogre combo is just way too annoying. Liners can just go for Sludge Bomb, Amogus can go for Sludge Bomb, Xerneas can go for Triple Axel, so Relative is not a very good counteraction for opponents' Kyogre team. But what is interesting counteraction I saw on the ladder is Gyarados. Gyarados, unless Kyogre has a Tailwind, is just kind of walling the Kyogre, especially with Assault Vest, for example. You're just gonna wall the Kyogre. You're gonna intimidate the Xerneas, and you can just go for like Ice Fang to annoy the Xerneas. You probably do it, KO it. Power Whip does absolutely massive damage to Kyogre and weakens its Water Spouts. Waterfall is super good to KO Tornadus under Rain. So yeah, Gyarados might be pretty good counteraction as well when I think about it. Also, White Guard is super good, just annoy it. But if opponent is experienced, they will just go for a single target water type attack, and they're just gonna go around that. If you're on low ladder though, you can usually just go for White Guard and catch the Water Spout and win the game outright. So yeah, especially against Choice Scarf variants, White Guard is much better. But if they're Sea Incense, it's just not going to be as useful, since they can just freely switch into the single target water type attack. So yeah. And with that, I end this video. I think this video is a little bit shorter than usual. That's probably because the Tailwind teams are just usually so easy to run. There is no defensive core, it's just, you just click buttons, you know. It's a pretty easy team to pilot in early in the metagame though, because it's just so brainless, and it's good for beginners. So with that, I end this video. Hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you next metagame next Monday. See ya!